Gaming is littered with great characters, villains, squad mates, NPCs, and of course the protagonists themselves. For this lot we're talking about today though, one game was all they needed to make an impact. Some of these characters have deeply affecting stories which stay with you long after the screen fades to black, and some of them are just a right laugh to be around. And while most probably won't ever be seen again, bar maybe a remake further down the line, they all acted as trailblazers for trends in games that followed. Consequently, even if they only appeared in one game, their influence can be felt in others far and wide. Whether they provided great fun, touching stories, tough foes, or a unique experience, each of these characters only had one game and they made it count. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are 9 incredible video game characters who only appeared in one game. Number 9, Martin Walker, Spec Ops: The Line. Spec Ops: The Line was a game we clearly were not ready for in 2012, and we might not even be ready for it if it released today. A scathing commentary on the entertainment inspired by war, the shooter initially offers up Martin Walker as your typical big, brash and bold war hero. As the story goes on though, Walker begins to crumble, and so grows into a much more effective character. He's somewhat unique for a major release in that he's both a hero and a villain, and not a broody, does whatever it takes dark anti-hero, but a genuine bona fide bad guy. Walker and his squad are in Dubai, charged with searching for survivors in the war zone. However, over the course of the game, Walker, and by extension you, must commit several atrocities, the most harrowing being dropping white phosphorus on a civilian population. Seeing Walker go through all that, seeing him suffer so psychologically and struggle to come to terms with his decision, makes him a hugely complex character, and one who works best existing in only this one harrowing story. Number 8, Rillaroo, Crash Bash. Switching gears completely, Rillaroo was recently added to Crash Team Racing as a limited timed unlockable character, meaning he's technically been in 2 games now, but he's too good to leave out, and in my opinion this doesn't count. He's only in CTR because of fan pressure akin to the clamouring for Waluigi in Smash Ultimate, quite the achievement since he's only been in a weird spin-off party game previously. Crash Bash was the Bandicoot's answer to Mario Party, and the fact we haven't gotten a remaster is a travesty and a crime, and I'm going to write to Activision immediately after finishing this voiceover. As well as featuring Crash, Coco, Cortex and the rest of the gang, the random monkey/kangaroo Rillaroo is thrown into the mix as well. We know he's a villain and he doesn't like having his photo taken, and that's literally all we're given of him, yet he became a legend within the Crash fandom. After his cameo in Crash Team Racing, he's unlikely to become a star moving forward though. Several others like Tawana and the Trophy Girls seem ahead of him in the queue, while the likes of Nash and Giri might get a shot in the arm in whichever new game Crash gets now that he's back. Consequently, Rillaroo will remain a minor footnote, but that's what makes him so special. He's the underdog, or I guess the under-monkey-kangaroo thing, though that doesn't really have the same ring to it, does it? Number 7, Paul, Saints Row 4. Though far from a major character, there is perhaps no one who sums up the bonkers world of Saints Row quite so well as Paul. In a franchise featuring crotch punchers, Shakespeare-quoting aliens, and the patented dildo bat, Over the Top is the name of the game. Paul, then a Godzilla energy drink who runs amok in the simulation, is the epitome of the game's no boundaries thinking. One of the leading Saints, Pierce, created Paul as a mascot for his new product. The Constant Hustle and energy drink brand both fit Pierce's image and the Saints in general, but it's not until Paul morphs into the size of a skyscraper that he becomes a tangible character. He's both boss and level all at once, like a psychedelic Shadow of the Colossus tribute or something. The boss and Pierce must pop Paul's top, then drive their ship inside the can, swimming through the fizzy drink, while avoiding floating sugar molecules and other chemical ingredients. Paul offers an enjoyable adventure, sure, but he himself is a massively funny and hugely memorable part of a game already filled with extravagant set pieces. Number 6, Fenris, Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2 is easily the most divisive Dragon Age game of the 3 released so far. It stripped away a lot of the old school RPG features from Origins and then featured way too many identical dungeons filled with repetitive fetch quests. However, it's not a total write-off, and the slick characterization and arguably the most memorable crew in the franchise means it isn't universally panned. Leaving the gameplay aside for a second, Fenris was certainly a great addition to the Dragon Age franchise. Varric, Isabella, Hawk, Cassandra, Meryl, and Anders are all pretty good as well, but each either feature in Origins or Inquisition and therefore disqualified themselves. And that's not to say Fenris is the winner by default, but it certainly didn't hurt that most of his Dragon Age competition was sidelined for this list. A former Teventa slave, he's a man of honor molded by his time in chains. Though he's a warrior with a blood-soaked history, his heart hasn't hardened, and he becomes one of Hawke's most trusted allies. Yes, he can be very cold, especially towards mages, but he's not unduly cruel or stoic. Getting to know Fenris brings him out of his shell and lets you meet one of Dragon Age's most interesting characters. Number 5. Vas Montenegro, Far Cry 3. It's tempting to say that the definition of insanity is Vas only appearing in one Far Cry installment, but the truth is, the fleeting nature of his appearance helps keep him special. Don't get me wrong, keeping him alive longer in 3 wouldn't have hurt, but he had such a twisted and compelling presence that he didn't need to be on screen to sink his claws into you. The best part of Vas's unhinged rambling is how unpredictable he is. Thanks in part to Michael Mando's fantastic voice acting and performance, Vas's monologues are some of the best in gaming, and he's a huge part of why the series is a success to this day. Many games have capitalized on the crazy villain shtick before, but none quite as well as Far Cry. Hell, the series even managed to repeat the trick with a much more level-headed, suave sociopath in Far Cry 4's Pagan Min. He misses out here to keep it to one character per series, but certainly deserves an honourable mention. In fact, let me know which of the two you preferred down in the comments below. I am fascinated to see who wins because they're both so great. Number 4. Ciri, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Despite Geralt's obvious significance as the heart of The Witcher 3, for a lot of players it was Ciri who stole the show. Where Geralt was rough and stoic, Ciri was swifter, more incisive and measured. He's a battle axe and she's a dagger, and both will kill you at a moment's notice. She provides a fantastic contrast with Geralt while managing to stand out on her own too. She's a driving force throughout the story, both as a goal in the Witcher's quest and in the sections where she becomes the protagonist. Up against a character like him, it would have been very easy for Ciri's playable sections to feel like a dull distraction, stealing us away from the quote-unquote real game. Instead though, she added a new dimension to this series, and managed to carve out a strong identity with limited screen time. Number 3. Trevor Phillips, Grand Theft Auto 5. The only real challenger here to Vas's psychotic throne is Trevor Phillips. Though Grand Theft Auto 5 had 3 different protagonists, it always felt like Trevor was the main character, stealing the show at every turn. In pretty much every way imaginable, GTA 5 was a bigger game than any GTA which came before, and that goes double for the characters. And it's that mentality which is why we ended up with such a brilliantly over-the-top whack job like Trevor Phillips. Rockstar have always been experts at incorporating violence into GTA, but Trevor was a manifestation of the anarchic madness players could indulge in context-free previously. While you'd never be able to call him sympathetic, relatable, or even likable, he is admittedly more than just some crazed nutter. He has a clear arc, he's funny, and he feels like a real person, albeit a deeply disturbed, completely deranged one. He leads some of the most memorable quests and missions in the entire franchise, and while part of that was Rockstar's level design and bountiful open world, much of it came down to Trevor's own personality. A new GTA has been a long time coming, but whoever leads it will struggle to outshine Trevor. Number 2. Sarin, Mass Effect. Mass Effect is littered with fantastic characters, though the way each game flows into one another in the trilogy means most of them pop up in multiple installments. Sarin, however, as the antagonist of Mass Effect 1, is one of the best, and he only gets one game to make his impact. Sarin is the first character to fall victim to the indoctrination techniques of the Reapers, but he's not the last. He's such an effective villain because he's not a diabolical force for evil. He's a war hero doing what he truly believes is right, and for 2007, that was incredibly rare. In the game, you can even offer him a final dignity, as it's possible to have him repent and kill himself instead of taking him out in the final boss battle, though you kinda do anyway immediately after. By avoiding lazily making him a mindlessly evil figure, Mass Effect elevates Sarin to a much more complex level. He embodies so many key themes of the franchise, acts as a formidable foe, and is a rounded character in his own right. And seeing Sarin's arc with Mass Effect 2's more polished finish would perhaps make it the perfect game, so Please, EA, if you're out there watching this for some reason, please hear me out and just remaster this trilogy for me, for your boy, for old JB. Come on. Number 1, Arthur Morgan, Red Dead Redemption 2. It would be easy to toss a load of new characters on this list to try and cheat the only appeared in one game rule, but with Arthur Morgan, things are a little different. Not only is he one of the most complex and compelling characters in modern gaming, but the ending of his game means we likely won't see him ever again. Yes, Red Dead Redemption 1 signaled the end of John Marston only for the sequel to actually be a prequel and then give us more, but Rockstar are unlikely to pull this same trick twice. That means one and done is probably all we're going to get with Arthur Morgan, but his impact will certainly ripple through gaming for a while to come. Arthur's story challenges the usual video game tropes, with the man going on an emotional journey as much as a physical one. He's a character as tender and heartfelt as he is strong and brutal, and one who has a huge impact on Red Dead Redemption 2's colourful cast as well as the players controlling him. He drives the story onward, yet never feels like the bland plot device he could have been, and is so layered that it takes hundreds of hours to truly get to know him. So that's our list. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Which one and done characters did I miss off here that you think should have been included? And while you're down there, could you give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over to WhatCulture.com for more lists and news like this every single day. Even if you don't though, I've been Josh. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.